Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Printing's Alive, the podcast where we talk everything print. Today, I have, yes, you got it, another special guest, but this guest has the longest name in print. We have Colin Sinclair McDermott. Did I get that right?
Spot on, buddy.
Okay, good. So you're the first out of 31 that I got right. I usually get the names pronounced wrong. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Oh, pleasure to have you on. So reason I invited Colin today is because we basically do a lot of the same things and that we just want to help printers succeed. We want to help them grow and we want to promote the print industry. I'm on the North American side. He's across the pond in the UK. So I welcome you again and just give a 2-minute spiral of you.
Yeah. Thanks, Warren. So, as Warren said, I'm based over in the UK. I'm in Scotland, on the west coast, and I am a print coach. So I came into the industry back in the 90s. I've had experience running my own print companies, and just over 5 years ago, I decided to go down the coaching road. I kind of had an opportunity to kind of reinvent myself, and I touched on print coaching in a previous role within Simpress, and I loved it. I loved being able to use some of that experience that I'd built up over the years, good and bad, and go out and help other people. And here I am today, kind of working with companies right across all different sectors within the print industry, and it's the best job in the world.
Cool. So I'll agree that it's a pretty good job when it's good, but I think we both ended up in the position of doing what we're doing, in the sense that we both had print operations, different type of operations. We endured for a while, and then we no longer had these operations, and we didn't have. And I'm smiling because it's not a funny thing, but it's just kind of funny that I'm sitting here with you on the other side, who's almost a similar, very similar experience. I was in a more in the bigger manufacturing facility. You were more in the smaller shop franchised. But at the end of the day, we need to take care of our customers. And sometimes things happen that are within our control, and sometimes things happen that are not within our control. And I don't know about you, and I'm sure it's the same as me. When I finished the other side, not by my choice, I always add, I thought, hey, what can I do within the industry that has meaning? And that was, I really am a printer at heart, ink in the vein. I just want to help printers succeed. I don't want to see them make the mistakes that I made or others.
Yeah, we've got a lot of similarities there. And as you touched on, I've had a failed business in the past, and I actually wear it as a badge of honour, to be honest with you. And I know this is something. In fact, I wrote an article for Print Week just recently, because there's definitely a divide between how that's kind of looked upon, certainly in the States versus what it is over here. And I think it's definitely shifting, but from my experience working in the States, like, people see that as a good thing. People see it as you've gained a lot of experience, you've learnt through that process. Whereas certainly it's something I wasn't comfortable to speak about for quite a few years afterwards, because I was ashamed to I'd made mistakes. I didn't want other people to know. And even when I started this business, I wondered how it would be perceived. But I've made some bad decisions in the past. We all make mistakes, so long as you learn from them. And that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, is to stop other people making some of the mistakes that I did as well.
Oh my, yes. I have made millions of dollars of mistakes, where I could probably teach an MBA course on mistakes not to make if you're in print manufacturing, right? And then we try to pass on that information and help others. But it's funny you said ashamed, and I remember when my business closed and there was a print show coming up in Canada, and I went to it. I wanted to go to it, so I went to it. But I remember being there, and I remember as the show was opening, I was standing outside the doors, and I was afraid literally afraid to walk in and open the door because my business just closed. I owed some companies money. I don't think I hurt any small business, but you owe the big guys money. And I just looked at the door and my heart was beating and I almost got into my car and went home. And then I just said, fuck it. And I opened the door and I walked in, and I couldn't have been more excited and happier that I made that decision, because everybody was just so kind and welcoming. And don't worry about it. And people have made bigger mistakes. And, don't think about, this was the key. They said to me, don't think about all the mistakes. Think about everything good that you do within the industry. You promote it all the time. You don't stop. Right. Yeah. And that's what keeps me going. And then I see this
back now. You're paying it back. Listen, I had a similar experience. I decided to start taking this business out into the print expos about 4 years ago, and I dreaded the very same thing. Like kind of before, and I had a stall at this thing as well. And sure as damn it, one of the first people to come on my stand was someone that I had kind of wasn't able to put things right the way that I wanted to. Kind of when I lost that first business, and I was worried about nothing. The guy couldn't have been nicer. He was like, and the one thing is, like, because we all make mistakes, but if you do it with integrity, and that was the one thing that I had going for me, was even though I couldn't fix things to the extent that I wanted, I tried, and I kept kind of kept to promises as best as I could, and it turned out we actually had a really good conversation. I felt so much better for it. I'm sure he felt better for it as well. But integrity is a big thing. As long as you can hold your head up high and know that you've done your best, that's all you can ever ask for.
Well, the industry kind of knows the people out there that are, for lack of better wording, that are out to just get what they can and screw who they can, doing what they do. But they also know and enjoy and work with those that are really working hard to make a good go of the industry, to keep things moving forward, to keep the momentum going. And those companies, and I think companies need to know that.
Yeah.
Because if you're a company out there working and you're marketing and you're promoting and you're doing, all your vendors around you will be there to support you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big believer in karma. I think if you put enough good out there, then things will come back and look after you as well. And I still see that week on week through my own work, through my clients. Like, sometimes you feel as if you're banging your head against a brick wall, and then all of a sudden something good happens. And it's because you've never given up, because you're still putting good stuff out into the world. And sometimes it just takes longer than others.
Yeah, my forehead's a little soft over here from banging on those walls. But you know what? It's like you said, when you hit that one golden one, and not dollar-wise, golden one, in that you meet the person or people that you could work with that appreciate your experience, appreciate what you do, and then go and do something, and then they have some wins.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I think one of the best things that I like is working with someone and then watching their success, or the start of their success, and success meaning that they're doing things and there's movement forward, because the people in the company always recognize what started, right? And I always say it starts at the top, not at the bottom.
Yeah.
And if the top is smiling, then you just get the movement momentum from everybody else in the company that buys in. It's like it's like if you're laughing and it's contagious, everybody laughs with you.
Yeah, so it's that ripple effect that comes from the work that you do as well. It's interesting. I was on a coaching session last week, and small business. I've been working with this guy for probably about a year now, and his wife's now come into the business, so she was in on the call. Their little 3 or 4 year old girl was on the call. The wife's pregnant, so the Bambino number 2 was in the call as well. But he turned around and said something to me that really, really kind of hit hard, was that for the first time in about 10 years, he felt like he had a real business. And his wife then pipes up and says, kind of like the difference in him since he's been working with you. And it's that ripple effect that you're talking about. It's just when you start to see these results, that's what makes us feel good. That's why you and I do what we do, is to is to spread that print love and get people buying into kind of what we know is an amazing industry.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, I like all my customers. In case you're listening, I don't want you to think that I don't like you, but I really get a good kick out of working with the companies where the owners haven't built a network or aren't part of a peer group and are independent, but lonely and lonely
Yeah.
not in a bad way, lonely in a way that they need some help, and then you get to dive into the relationship if they're serious, and they tend to listen a little better. So, okay, now that I just said listen a little better, let's talk about not listening. So, what are some of the things that you see that printers are not doing that you find yourself suggesting to them over and over again?
Yeah, I think the most obvious one that comes to mind is not marketing enough. They're not marketing enough. That's usually the problem. It's the one thing that always seems to get neglected when they get too busy. Like, for example, we had a discussion in one of my groups this week because we're already thinking about, okay, the good thing is there's been a little lull because we've had the summer holidays over here, but then it's going to be busy September, October, November. But then we know there's a quiet spell coming in December and January, typically. So I'm saying to them just now, when you're quiet right now, you need to be doing the marketing for what's going out in December and January to make sure that you're busy. And yeah, some will take that on board and embrace it. Others won't, and then they'll come back in December and say, "Oh, we're really quiet," and I wonder why. So it's making the use of those quiet spells, but actually just having a firm strategy. Like I think we're very guilty of, as an industry, of being more reactive than proactive. And I know you sing from the same hymn sheet as I do as well, but we can sit here all day and showcase kind of companies that are doing well and why they're doing well, but the big factor is time for a lot of people, and we have to first of all find a way to free up that time. Then we have to show them the strategies that they should be doing to market more effectively.
Yeah, so I look at it a little differently. They're just bloody thick in the head, because what frustrates me more than anything is where we are today in the industry and why so many print companies that have been around for I'll go as little as 5 years, 10 years, 15 and 20 years plus, and why nothing is happening. I don't even have an answer, and I have to control my mouth because I want to scream and swear. Like, how stupid could companies be? First of all, when going gets tough and people decide they're going to cut off their marketing, that's the time you keep your marketing on. That's the time you keep it running. So that all the others, right? So all the others that have turned it off, the companies in need still know that you exist. That's number one. Number two, how could a company not go out and build, start to build their brand? And in the old days, brands were Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Prada, Ferrari. Now brand has transformed down to any company with any product or any service, right? But for all the stuff that printers put out, for all the stuff they make, for all the clients that they have, the designers they deal with and others, why are they so thick? And why are they so resistant? And if you're a printer listening and you're doing nothing, right? I would love for you to call me, call Colin. I just want to know why you're so thick, why you've got a wall up, why you're so stubborn, why you want to argue with everybody in marketing about it. Can you tell me why they're like that?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't use the same terminology, but I appreciate there's a big frustration here because we're trying to help people. But listen, I think a lot of the time you don't know what you don't know. But I think time's a big issue. But we don't understand kind of marketing well enough, and that's one thing I'm trying to change. I think it was Bill Farquharson you had on a few weeks back. And marketing and sales they've come together, but people still don't see it that way and they don't prioritize it that way. I teach a system called the customer value journey, and I can very quickly identify when I go into a business where clients are dropping off, and there's money being left on the table. They're not nurturing their existing customer. People are so focused on going out and trying to find new business that they're not looking after the ones that they've already got. They're not. And you and I both know as well. Like, how many times have you been in a situation where you've spoken to a customer and you hear those famous words, "Oh, I didn't know you'd done that." And I've heard you speak about you being out with a sales guy, one of your sales guys in the past, and the client didn't know half the stuff that you'd done.
I'm biting my tongue as you started to say that, right? So this is what I'm going to say now is for the owners to be listening. Okay? To the owners, the guys whose money's on the table, men, women, young women, old men, old women, families, whatever. I used to ask my salespeople to book appointments with our better customers or all the customers, and I just wanted to go around and say hello. Why? Number one, I want to thank them for the business. Number two, want to really make sure that we're servicing them right and hear from them if we are not. Want to make sure that we're presenting all of our services to them. But more importantly, the fourth thing is, as the owner, I could say things to the customer that the salespeople cannot say. And I don't mean it in the negative stuff, but I could put offers out there. I could entice them because I am the owner, right? And I used to have some salespeople who couldn't make the appointments fast enough for me to go with them because they knew that the benefits of. And the most important thing is, when you go with your salesperson, the customer feels good. You, the owner, the salesperson has a good relation with the owner. The owner's here. They care, right? It's about they care. But the others wouldn't want to make the appointments and they would stall. And number one, I would say to them, if you don't make the appointment, I'm making it myself. I don't need you to be there because it's my account. I own the receivable. We do the work. So if you're an owner, remember, they're your accounts. You should know who they all are. And then we would go, and I knew right away why the salesperson didn't want me there, because they weren't selling our services. They were just doing what they were doing and nothing more. Right?
Correct.
So as the owner, two things, always 1, 2, 3, but two things. One, you want to go because you want the customer to know who you are and you want to know the customer, because God forbid your salespeople should ever leave you. You pick up the phone right away and you can call them. No stalling. You call them, because today most companies don't follow print salespeople company to company. They've invested too much time, energy, and money in building the relationship with the manufacturing this person, right? And then you want to be able to just pick them up and run with it, and make sure they're being serviced.
And also, it's a training aspect as well. Like, kind of, any salesperson should be delighted to have the business owner going out with them, because kind of they're typically further down the line. They'll have different approaches, and you can learn from each other. To be honest with you, because again, something I talk about frequently is, you want to be employing salespeople who are better salespeople than you are, in an ideal world, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you do find yourself in that situation, like, you can learn from each other, but the clients respect it when the business owner comes out and spends time with them and tries to understand their business and maybe come at things from a different perspective. But every print company, when I start working with them, they're all leaving money on. I've never come across one business that isn't leaving money on the table. In fact, we had a client over in the States not so long ago, and we went through a survey, customer survey. We sent out to the top 100 clients, and asking those awkward questions sometimes, like, kind of, how much are they spending on print? How much are they giving to other suppliers? Are there any products that they wished you offered that you don't currently offer? Again, that usually kind of spits out a few things, and you'll think, well, we do that. Why did they not know we do this? We're not educating them well enough. But having these open conversations, and honestly, I promise you, you will always find opportunities in there. Not everyone will reply, but the ones that do, they're happy to tell you this information because they want to give you more business. But you might have to educate them better. You might have to sharpen your pencil, or sometimes just say, do you know what, that's not for me. But you will always find opportunities that you could be capitalizing on more.
Yeah, that's so funny. We're like identical. So at my company, we've done the survey thing. It's not so easy to get people always to fill it in, but now with the digital, the online, it's a little easier. But one thing that we used to have the salespeople do was new customers or regular customers annually go have that annual meeting with them.
Yeah.
And let's take a new customer. So new customer was, they had these questions. To the person they're sitting in front of. So can you tell me a little bit about you, your experience, your history, where did you work? Just to get to know who them. And then it was, okay, I have a few questions about the company. How much do you spend a year on print? And we would advise them to advise the customer. You don't have to answer any questions. You don't want to. We're really asking them so that we can get a fingerprint of who you are, what you do, what your needs are, and in what areas that you move, so that should you call us, we're not going to be fumbling the ball or trying to do something that's not for us. So how much business, how much print do you give out a year? How many companies do you deal with? If you're good, who might your suppliers be? Because we just like to figure out the level who we're competing with, because we know all the players in town.
Yeah.
And I even joke sometimes to a customer, and that's me making the joke, all us printers know who's biggest customers anyways, eventually, but that's okay. What's your budget? What's your pain points? What solutions are you looking for? And then you get into those real questions. And I will tell you that a good 80% plus answer all the questions.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's worth it for them. I'll tell you, just going on from that as well, one of the things we done when I had my print company was we kind of collaborated with, still to this day, I mean, it came through a networking opportunity. I used to run a lot of networking events. I used that as my mechanism to kind of bring print into the mix. And we done like breakfast and lunch meetings, but my biggest event I ran was, we had 2,500 people through the door in one day.
Wow.
90 exhibitors. And it was a kind of meet the buyer type event. But whilst I was doing one of these events, met two lovely ladies from Manchester in England, and turned out they were setting up a new thing within the Chamber of Commerce in Greater Manchester of Commerce. I believe is the largest, or one of the largest chambers in the UK. And they had this new incentive called Chamber Plus that was launching, and they wanted me to come in as the sole print supplier. And what they were going to do was basically every time a new member joined, and they would go through existing ones as well, but everything you just said there, they'd done it for us. So they basically done a full print audit on our behalf. Obviously, they got a kickback, but they handed me a list of all that company's previous year's invoices, full job specs, what can you do, what your magic. And honestly, 99% of the time we could offer savings, we could bring more value into the mix. And they were literally sending us, I think at one point we had about 5 new clients a day coming through. So for anyone listening, if you can set up any collaborations with, think about other people who service the same types of customers as you want to go after. If you can build collaborations like that, it's goldmine.
Oh, so on that note, if for other people listening, one of the biggest things that happens is print salespeople become complacent with their clients, right? And they just take the orders, but they forget about offering up suggestions. They forget about meeting with them. They forget about reviewing. And I had one client actually after my print company that I was selling some print for, because I'll still sell you print if you if you have a project and you want to work on it, I'm the guy. If you want to price because you're going out for competitive pricing, I'm not the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I had this one person who called me in. I went in and I said, you're going to have to give me all how you've been buying, your orders, what you
Mm-hmm.
buy, so I could see and I could look at it, and I got a handle on it. And I was able to save them 30%, give or take a few points, not for any other reason than they were good enough to give me the information, which most customers fight you on because they
Mm-hmm.
think that you're going to do something with it that you shouldn't. But because they gave it to me, I was able to look at it. I looked at all the product. I was able to think about it for a moment. I was able to come up with some ideas on how they should run it or produce it because of how they ordered the quantities before. And that's how I saved them 30%. I didn't do anything. I didn't change. I changed one size, maybe 3/8 of an inch or something on a large something to shrink it. But I didn't do anything other than that, than to group up some runnings, work on some fulfillment, work on some inventory warehousing for 60 or 90 days at a time, no more. And boom. And I almost got screwed.
Yeah.
Eventually I did, but I almost got screwed at the beginning in that the print buyer didn't like the fact that I was working with the owner, right? He went and gave my best price to the other printer, who then came back and said I could match it. And in a meeting, I was literally going to lose it to the incumbent guy. And I basically, I kind of slammed my hands on the table in a moment of, wanting to make some noise. And I said, you know what? That is completely unprofessional. That is completely unacceptable. That guy has been here for 5 years and had every opportunity in the book to do something, and he's done nothing for you. So you know what? I'll be good if he could credit you the difference on every invoice for the last 12 months. I'll walk away. My job is done. I'll give you a bill for my time.
Yeah.
And, fortunately, the owner was like, no, that's not going to happen. And then after a couple buyers, it kind of fell back into that. But not every owner could be everywhere, right? But you have to really give it your all. And if you're a salesperson, you want to be on your account, not bringing them donuts and, stuff like that. And people don't even want to go out with you anymore because no one has time to go out with you anymore.
Yeah.
But you have to be on them and let them know that you care in every way possible.
Yeah. Print sales has changed. I remember the days when you could grab a bag of biscuits and go in, and people would have time to sit with you and have those kind of chats, but everyone's too busy these days. So you have to change your approach. You have to be a bit more creative about how you build those relationships.
That or they're on a diet. They don't want the biscuits anymore, right? Listen, I remember I would have hockey tickets and I'd say to a customer, hey, you can come to the hockey game with me and we could rub knees in those tight seats, or you could have the tickets and take your son to the game. I think it would be a life moment for your son. And they're like, really?
Nice.
And I'm like, yeah.
Nice touch.
Right? Happy to go with them sometimes, but truthfully, I don't want to go most of the time. I got other things I got to be doing at night.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
But so important, so important. So let's talk quickly or briefly. You said it, sales. How have they changed in a bigger way from how they were to today?
Okay. Listen, when I came into the industry, we didn't have access to the tools and resources that we do today. Spoke about this in a recent podcast as well. So I started off, I kind of cut my teeth. I started off as an estimator. Actually, I came into that business as a junior estimator, fresh out of print college. And within 3 months, the guy who was my boss was headhunted to a label printers across the city. And within 3 months, I was running the estimating department by myself, which was a real good baptism of fire. But I kind of worked in estimating, moved into production, and then back in those days, you've seen all the sales guys driving about in big fancy Mercedes and BMWs and Audis, and I kind of wanted a bit of that action. But back in those days, you get handed a yellow pages, a list of the clients you weren't allowed to go service, and just go win some business. Nowadays, it's a whole different ballgame. and it's so much easier to, like, we've got LinkedIn, like you can literally go on and message the CEO of any business you want, literally kind of like that with an email. You can do some deep dive research using AI to understand, like, I mean, we looked at something recently where you can go in and actually pretty much get a full in-depth report on what that company's doing marketing-wise, understand what they're spending on print. Obviously, try and understand that buying persona, the customer avatar, as I call it, kind of so that we've been around long enough to kind of know what the usual kind of pain points are, what the key purchase drivers are, but you can use AI to even craft a bloody sales letter these days. Like, kind of, obviously, you've got to be careful. I know you do the same as well, but kind of, you can use it for creating ideas, and then obviously you put your own spin on it. But we didn't have anything like everything. Everything now can be done 10 times faster than what it was back then, but the expectation levels are 10 times higher as well. And that it's still a challenging world. But yeah, I think it's easier if you know what you're doing. But there's a lot of people not bringing themselves up to speed with what the technology can do for you these days, and I think those people are going to get left behind.
Yeah, so I said this before. So I remember going to a company where there was many salespeople, and before I went there, I went onto LinkedIn, and this is a few years after COVID, and I looked up all the salespeople because I'm trying to think about what I'm going to talk about, how I'm going to say things, and I start going to all their LinkedIn's, and the majority of them don't even have an email address in their contact, right? Yeah. I'm losing my mind as I'm sitting there. They have a Gmail. Anyway, yeah. I get to the company, and the CEO sitting there and all the people sitting there, and I'm standing up there, and I go, well, you guys have me come here. You want me to talk about some sales? I said, but I don't think any of yous are ready. Mm-hmm. I said, what do you do today when you go see a customer? You go to the website, you go look up LinkedIn, you try to find out as much as you can about them. I said, what do you think they do when you reach out to them or send them something or want to work with them? They go out to look at your company and look at you.
Yeah.
I said, and when I look at all your LinkedIn pages, I wouldn't work with any of you. Or I'm not enticed to want to call any of you. Not that you're all not nice people. And I even did a couple examples just using AI at the time when AI just came out like 2.5 years ago. And I just did a couple changes up on their abouts. I said, I took your about, I changed it, put it in, I prompted it to change it up, and look how good it is. I said, and we talk about the buyers being younger, but you're not doing anything to appeal to them. Why? Why are people so stubborn? Why are owners? I just did a podcast, and I suggested to the head of the organization or the owner, I said, can you reach out? Why don't you reach out to your salespeople, ask them to look at the post on LinkedIn, and ask them to share it on their wall and write something about it. It then promotes the company, promotes the podcast, but it promotes the company. It shows that they're active out there doing things. You know what the owner says? We don't tell our people what to do. I said, I didn't suggest you tell them what to do. I suggest you have a conversation because this is part of marketing. You start at the top, and all they have to do is share and write a couple words and start to look good. Why? Why is everybody so stubborn?
I think there's a couple of reasons. I think education-wise, people don't appreciate the opportunities that lie within platforms like LinkedIn. I think there's a reluctance. I see this a lot. People, they know they should be doing it, but they don't do it at the fear of putting themselves out there. Not everyone is like you and I, where we're prepared to kind of go all in and just put ourselves out there. I had a situation with one client, and honestly, this happens almost weekly.
I like the word incident better, by the way. Just saying.
But he was quite shy at kind of putting himself out there. He didn't want to be seen as being show offy. Anyway, we coaxed him into. He'd done a job. It was a Lego store was opening in his local city, and he'd been brought in to do the branding. And it was literally, this branding was going to be up for 24 hours, been taken down, and then the real branding was going up. It was just a temporary fix. And anyway, we got him to post this on LinkedIn, and post went nuts. Not quite as viral as your video that you put out, but the post was very well received, considering he'd gone from really not maybe posting once a month to kind of so he didn't have an engaged audience. He picked up 5 new jobs from that one post. 5 new jobs from that one post, and now we've got him. And to be fair, I hear it all the time. Clients come back to me and say, "Thanks for pushing me to put that content out there, because I see it now. I see why it works." But I think there's a number of reasons why people don't do it, but you've just got to do it. Push yourself out your comfort zone.
So let me ask you. Let's go away from the electronic world, right?
Very quickly, Warren,
yeah.
I need to jump in because I don't want your audience thinking anything, but I've got a very itchy nose, and I have to state this because I don't want people thinking I've got any bad habits. Far from it. So I want to be able to continue rubbing my nose if it gets itchy, but I don't want anyone thinking
there's nothing, there's no residue, so don't worry.
Really not, but I just wanted to for the record. Anyway, carry on. Sorry,
I'll make sure that we don't edit that out, right? But so let's go basic, old school, and traditional direct mail, right? Mm-hmm. Why is every printer not every month building a list of 500 to 1,000 people within a 2, 3, 5, 8 mile radius of their business, and put a student on, put a young person on, employ them to make phone calls to get the right address, the right name. Yeah. It's 2 weeks worth of work, right? A month worth of work for a young person. It's $20 an hour. It's 40 hours. It's cost you $6,400 to have a person sit there. And I'm just making that up because it could be a lot less. Get all the information, names, do the research, build a proper list. And why are they not printing and mailing personalized mail once a month for 12 months? If you're doing 1,000 a month, it's 12,000 at the end of the year. If it's $1 each or £1 or whatever it is to post, so that's 12 grand for the year. Your design, let's call it $500 a month. Let's call it 1,000. So 1,000 for post, 1,000 for design, 1,000 for print. That's $36,000 a year. 1,000 people every month, but they're playing around with salespeople who might call 10 people a month, and they're paying them $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
Why are they not doing that, building the leads? Then they feed the salespeople with legitimate leads. And even if they do nothing, I think, what are we going to say from direct mail? They're going to get a 2-3% return just from people calling. Maybe all the people who call Staples and all those department stores to order print because they don't know where to go for print. Why? Why do printers not do that?
No, I think it's something we're very bad at. And of course, it's the lifeblood of kind of what we're all about. And we expect everyone else to come to us for their direct mail, but we don't do enough of it ourselves. I'm actually working with a direct mail consultant just now. And I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think the big problem is, I think if we had better data, people would do it. But you've got to invest in that.
Okay, listen. I got to stop you. Stop with the data and stop with the bullshit. Let's go back to no data. 1,000 names a month mailed by the company. You don't need data to know that it's the cheapest way to reach people. Personalized. We know this about personalized. Yeah. Everybody opens up every mail that has their name on it. We also know that every person that gets mail with their name on it, even if they're going to throw it out, it takes a couple of days to throw it out because you leave it sit there because you don't want to throw yourself in the trash. So forget data. Why are people so stubborn? But they're okay. This is it. They're okay if their salesperson has a plan to go out and call 6 new people a day times 5 people, that's 30, times 4 weeks is 120. And if they're lucky, that's 1,200 at the end of the year. It doesn't make sense that they're okay. Right?
No, listen, I do completely agree. I think data is the one thing that holds a lot of people back from. Obviously, you've got your existing database. Even start with that, but bring someone in. It doesn't even need to be an employee. It can be. There's plenty of folk you can outsource this stuff to. Build up that database. But yeah, listen, you've got to be doing direct mail. I'll tell you one story actually. This consultant was telling me about. and I love this, and I'm sure he won't mind me sharing it with your audience. But he'd been doing some direct mail for himself, and there was one company he was really after, and he was having one last attempt, and he sent the guy a box, an empty donuts box, and there was something in the message along with. I got so tired waiting for you to reply to my last letter that I ended up eating the donuts that I'd planned for us to have when we celebrated coming together as a partnership. And I love that. I think you've got to get creative. You've got to think outside the donut box, so to speak. But this is what we're all about, print. Like, we have to be practicing what we preach and stop making excuses and just do it. Yes, it costs money, but it's a lot more effective than email. It's a lot more effective than phone. Pull them all together. Use that omni-channel approach.
It's a lot more effective than hiring a salesperson to come in that you know is going to take 18 months to succeed, that it's going to cost you X amount of dollars, and after 6 months you're pulling your hair out and you're pissed off, and then you let them go after 8 months, and you've already blown $35,000 or $40,000.
Yeah.
And we're talking about this all the time. So why are everybody so thick still? And if you're listening, please call and tell me why you're so thick. I'd love to hear from you personally. Make me feel better. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm the one who's thick and I don't get it. But I talk to people all the time, and it's the easiest thing to do. Before you go, everybody wants us, and not only they want a salesperson, they want a salesperson from another company with a book of business.
Mm-hmm.
We're living in 2025. That doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Or paying salespeople to come over. Salesperson comes over and says, I have a book of $1 million a year. Okay, so you're going to bring 75,000 of it only, right?
Yeah. It's never as easy as you think it's going to be. We've seen that. We've been around. I know. Again, that was something you and Bill spoke about as well, and it always takes longer than you think it's going to take for it to come in. But yeah, quick fixes are there. You just got to plug those gaps. And that, again, I come back to that customer value journey. And you should have mechanisms in place. Again, when customers drop off, be using direct mail to loop them back in. Don't just rely on one particular platform. Use direct mail, use phone, use email, use social media.
Email. How many people listening don't have time to look at the email they get from their friends every day? And those slip through. Mm-hmm. Do people really think that people are gonna read all their business emails that they send out soliciting them? No. To me, the email is the smallest thing on the list of your multi-channel marketing, whatever you want to do. Right?
Okay, I'm going to disagree with you for the first time then.
You can.
And that's why we're having these conversations, because it's good to get the different perspectives. But from my experience. And you're right. Listen, it's hard. People aren't opening emails as much as they used to. They're not clicking through as much, which is why you've got to be understanding your customers better. You've got to be talking to them about stuff that resonates rather than just putting generic fluff out there. But in my opinion, from the digital platforms, email still delivers probably one of the highest return on investments for your money, if you're doing it properly. But there's so many different types of email. It's not just about sending a promo email every week. You've got to be, as we spoke about, you've got to be educating your customers. So you want to make sure that as well as your sales guys having these conversations, making sure they understand everything that you offer. You want to be educating them. You want to make sure that they're seeing all the different services that you offer, so that when the sales guy's in there, they can refer back to, did you see that email we sent over with the case study? That business was just like yours, actually. You've got to be coming at it from an all-round approach. So email's still very, very valuable asset to have in your arsenal. But yeah, you've got to be using all of these things. This one-size-fits-all approach is not working. And the companies you see having success just now, they're adopting all of them into their strategy. They're not just picking one or two.
No, I'll agree with you, but I'm still into pushing print, making it the biggest part of it, and even should be the first contact because it's the easiest. email, I say that because email gets caught in company spam, gets caught in this, gets caught in that, and all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a promo that I didn't do, but I wanted to do. And I've done a bunch of them, but I wanted to send somebody a box with a shoe with one shoe in it. And then, the message was, hey, I got one foot in the door. Can we set up a time so I could bring the other foot in?
Love it.
Right.
Love
And maybe give them a pair of Nikes or something. But we sent out a card that was printed using scented ink that smelled like chocolate. And the card was, here's your box of chocolate. We're going with it. Everybody's watching what they eat these days. And we didn't want to, we didn't want to help you, whatever the message, blow up. But it was just letting them know. And we did mailings like that to show different things that we did.
Yeah.
Right. And then you just always got to keep it going. But I'm kind of just always, wow. One of the things you do is you were just in Africa and you donate your time. You do a lot of good. Right. How did that come about? And how does that make you feel after?
Okay. Excuse me. So yeah, I was in Malawi. So my wife lives there just now. So for the last 2 years, we've kind of been living apart. Give a little bit of background and substance to it there. So my wife she's a vet, so she's worked with animals since. We've been together since we were 17 years old. You don't have to do the math, Warren.
I'm thinking. Well, you got a full head of hair. I'm thinking you could be in your late 20s still.
You've not seen the back, but we've been together since we were 17. In fact, it's our 24th wedding anniversary today.
Hey,
so
happy anniversary! Glad to be
here.
Listen,
there's been a lot of ups and downs. What I put that poor woman through when I had my print company would make your toes curl. But yeah, no, kind of so. And the way I look at it, actually, so for years she supported my goals and my ambitions, and I put her through a lot of crap, to be honest. She had the opportunity, so she went back to university several years ago now, and done a master's in One Health medicine, and jobs for that don't really exist here in the UK. You've got to be kind of places like Africa, Asia, South America. And an opportunity came up for her to basically, she applied for the job as a mission rabies country director for Malawi, and she got the job, which was just amazing. But the downside is it's based in Blantyre, Malawi. So she's been out there. It was a 2-year contract, which started 2 years ago in October. So I always knew she wasn't going to be coming home this year because This is where her passion is, and I want to support her dreams the way she supported mine. So she's now been promoted. It's turned into a permanent contract, but we're kind of trying to make it work. I'm very lucky. I can work from anywhere as long as I've got a good Wi-Fi signal, and she's trying to get home more as well. So we're making it work. Eventually, I'll be spending so much time out there. She'll be spending so much time here, and we'll be back together a lot more frequently. So I was out visiting her, but also volunteering. So I was working the whole time I was there. We went up to Lake Malawi, and we were working on a vaccination campaign. So we were in about all the local villages, which was quite a humbling experience. Vaccinating, we basically vaccinated 3,000, just over 3,000 dogs and about 400 cats in a week, which was no means. And again, we went into some areas. Kind of some areas you go into are heavily populated, others not so much. And but you get to see how this is like stuff you see on the TV. It's like people living in mud huts
real
and
life.
Things like this. Real life stuff. And they've literally got nothing. And they were so happy to see us, so welcoming. All the kids, just made the whole experience. Like at one point, we had a whole primary school, and they don't just follow you around for 5 minutes. They were with us for hours. They were pointing us in the right directions of what houses to go to for which had dogs and things. Some people bring in goats and chickens and everything to get vaccinated, but But yeah, it was amazing. It's not the first time I've done this. I've done projects like this before, with the same organisation that my wife now works for, and yeah, it's funny, we don't typically go holidays anymore the way that we used to, because we've tried it. Like we went to Vietnam actually for her 40th, and we backpacked from I went to say Saigon, Ho Chi Minh, up to Halong Bay at the top.
I did the same thing.
And
Yeah. Cool.
we got bored, like, because we're so used to doing volunteer trips when we have time out. We kind of, I think the thing I like about it is you instill yourself in local life. Like we used to run a charity in Nepal, which I know you've been to in the past, and like we spent a lot of time in, you'll be familiar with areas like Chitwan and Pokhara, and we don't live like tourists. We're over there living with the locals. We eat what the locals eat. We go where the locals go, and it's just a whole different experience. And yeah, kind of, we've done that in Nepal, India, Thailand.
And how amazing are these people with so little that they have in life?
They're the happiest.
Right?
Honestly, they're the happiest. They don't want for anything. And
I just get goosebumps when I think back to,
mate, I tell you, one of my jobs. So there was one day where we got a heads up. They'd found a rabid dog in this village, and so kind of basically the emergency team comes in, which one was my wife, and we go locate where this dog is, and the signs weren't obvious, to be honest with you, but so many kids there, all surrounding the dog. And listen, you don't want this dog to go on a spree of biting people. It happened, I think they had an incident not so long ago where they were trying to catch the dog with a net, and the dog escaped, and I think it bit something like 40 odd people. And of course, you've then got all the protocols that kick in. You've got to get people treatment. Kind of, some people, they don't have the money to get to the hospital. Like, I mean, all these other things kind of come into play. So it's quite a serious situation. And we turned up at this village, and there must have been about 100 kids. So we're trying to kind of keep them back from my wife and her colleagues, so they can go in. They have to catch the dog. Sadly, they have to euthanize it. And then we have to test it to make sure that it was definitely a rabid dog. And in this case, it was rabid. It was only showing very early signs. But when you're in the villages and you're seeing the impact, and I think something like 40% of rabies bites are kids because of the height they're at. And it's tragic. Like, I hear it kind of through my wife kind of regularly, but they're out there, they're doing this amazing work, and they're reducing the amount of people that this can affect. But when you see the people in the villages, and like, I think I watched a video last week, and like, if we hadn't caught that dog, you could pretty almost certainly say that at least 4 or 5 of these kids are going to be dead by the end of the year, because that dog will get more aggressive, and it will do harm. So you're in there doing good, and it makes you feel like you're contributing, kind of. And it's different. Like what we do, we're contributing, we're doing our thing for the print industry, and we're hoping we can share that knowledge and experience and save people going through the mistakes that we did, as you said. But this is a whole different level. This is like, kind of, you're playing a part in actually saving people's lives. So it's something I try and do frequently. I'll be back out there again, certainly for the same campaign. We'll do the same area next year, but I want to do. I've done stuff like this in India, Nepal, and the people are just amazing, and it's always just makes you come home, and we don't appreciate what we've got. Like, even just like,
if people appreciated more of what they had, they wouldn't talk the way they talk.
Yeah, 100%. And just little things, like even the food options we have available here. Like, I'm watching these ladies, kind of young girls, like walking miles with like 10 litres of water in their head, like to kind of come back and cook with and wash up with and things like that. Like we just turn on a tap and it's there, like just little things that we take.
And we let it run while we brush our teeth. We don't stop it, like, to conserve the water. There's 100 cups that could have been poured while we're brushing.
Yeah, it's
that's why I brush my teeth in the shower, by the way. I get a lot of things done at once.
I love it. But it's these little things, and you just think, God, like everyone should experience this. We had the kind of Avinga's girlfriends came out this time to volunteer, and I know they've gone back home to Scotland changed, because it does. I think everyone needs to kind of do something like this at some point in their life, just to experience it and to see how other people are and how grateful we should be for the opportunities we have.
I listen, I've always been involved in different types of charities and volunteering, and either volunteering time or volunteering some money, or even at our, as a company, I was never big in Christmas gifts, because you go spend, not that I want to be humbug, but you're going to spend $20, $30, $40 on a gift. You're going to buy 100, 200 gifts to give out to customers for what? Like, what are they getting, and what are they going to do with it? And usually most of the time it's not anything meaningful. We used to donate money to the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation. We would donate money at Christmas to the Children's Hospital for the dog program, to bring dogs in, or for the diabetic pump, or whatever it is. It's something that makes a difference and
more meaningful.
And one year we did the diabetic pump at the Children's Hospital. We asked the hospital if we could have a picture of a child to put on the card, and we had to get permission from the parent and all of that. And I kid you not, we did the mailing out. That was our Christmas card, right? Was the picture of the child, and then what we did, and we sent it out. And one customer calls back and says, "Oh my God, that's my friend's daughter," and it was just so nice, and hearing her voice. Like, what we did there couldn't have been anything more meaningful that we could have done for her in doing this. So I suggest to other companies, right? And back up, a lot of companies don't want you buying gifts for their employees, right? Because it creates a whole lot of other issues. But if you're listening, look at your local communities. A lot of companies I know have food drives and everything in the company, but look to see how you can maximize anything with the kids, the Children's Hospital, Children's Wish Foundation, anything like that. It's a game changer. And it makes you feel really good knowing you're doing something good.
Of course it does. Of course it does. And we all want to feel good about ourselves. And you want to help people. And it just naturally gives you that meaning of purpose. Makes you want to get out of bed in the morning.
Exactly. So, oh my God, I can't believe the time has been flying. But one other thing we'll chat about before, and then we're going to pick this up again because we can go on and on and on like nobody else's business. The Print Mastermind and your gathering.
Yeah.
Right? Tell me about that. I've always been a pusher, not the pusher some people are thinking, but a pusher of peer groups and meeting with more like-minded people around you to foster some of these ideas, to help you get over some of these issues that hold you back from doing things. But so I've watched a couple of clips of the people in the gathering, and I thought it's great. So just tell us how that came about and what it's doing.
Yeah. So when I first launched this business, obviously there's certainly over in the UK, but there's not many people doing what we do, and I'm glad that we're getting to meet in some of the other folks that do this kind of stuff.
Me and you.
Two of us
that are real printers.
And the coaching slots filled up very quickly. Like, I was at capacity. I was trying to. I try not to take on too much because I want to make sure that the clients I am working with, I'm turning up for, and I'm there for them. And I started realizing that actually I was taking on too many, and I wasn't giving them the service that I wanted to give them. I wanted to be available for them, not just on the sessions, but between the sessions. So then the idea, so I've been involved in mastermind groups and things in the past. In fact, one in particular, I joined one called The Boardroom, and it was that was a tough one, to be honest with you. I went in, it wasn't industry specific. So there was me, there was a solicitor, an accountant, kind of there was a lot of kind of professionals around the table, and I felt quite out of my depth. And the first time you sit down as a group, and it's a half day every month at this point for a year. So I had to sit with my business plan. I was planning on franchising at the time, bringing production in-house, and they tore my business plan to shreds. I was absolutely devastated. I put so much time and effort into it, and I went home and I thought, bugger this, I'm not going back. That was just a waste of time. And I was in the house, poured a drink, spoke to my wife and told her what happened, and she went, "It can't all be wrong." And I was like, "You're right. You're absolutely right." So I went back the following month, and the relationships I went on to build that 12 months were phenomenal. I surprised myself by how much I was able to contribute to other people as well. And it was phenomenal. And that was my first taste of kind of what a mastermind group could do. And it got me to the point where we brought production in-house, we franchised the business, and I couldn't have done it without those other people around the room. So when I hit capacity, it was like, okay, how can we reach more people? So, and I won't lie, it's been a slog. I think COVID has definitely, the situation around COVID and people being more receptive to doing stuff online has helped. The second challenge was then bringing essentially competitors into an environment where they're going to be sharing stuff with other competitors. So it's definitely taken longer, but I think we're in a place of growth now, and people are realising that potential, the power that comes from getting all these people in the same industry. Okay, they might be coming at it from slightly different aspects, but it's the most amazing thing when you see it happening. And so we get together every Wednesday because we've got clients joining from all over the world. I kind of try and keep it at a time that suits most time zones, which is 4 p.m. UK time. We've got people in, I think probably the biggest time gap is 8 hours. We've got folk in Nevada that join. And yeah, it's amazing. So there's a structure like, so 1 week so in fact, we've got a call next Wednesday, which is the last Wednesday of the month. So that's the kind of a goal. That's the goal setting session where we hold everyone to account. So on the last session, we basically said, okay, right, what's your goals for this month? We're going to keep you to account. You're going to come on the call next month and you're going to tell us how you've got on, what challenges did you have? Did you achieve those goals? We're going to set goals for the next month. And they're fantastic. And it just keeps the momentum for everyone attending kind of going. We do hot seat sessions where we pick 3 people out of the membership who come in, and we basically do a focus 20 minutes each on their business, and we get everyone to chip in and share ideas and try and guide them in the right direction. We do a monthly Q&A where everyone brings either a short snippet kind of challenge that they're having that they want quick feedback on. And if they don't come with that, they have to bring something they've done in the business that month that has worked, has been successful for them, that they can share with everyone else. So either way, there's golden nuggets coming out of this. And then we have another session, which changes topics every month, but so like the next session we're doing is all about systems and processes, and we have like table topic discussions, if you like, around that. So no session's the same. Everyone's different. Everyone leaves with at least one thing, yeah, they're so powerful. So yeah, I love what Print Mastermind can do, and it's helping people move the needle.
Oh no, I love it. And if I could say or suggest or mention one thing to print owners, when you're also worried about being in a room with competitors, they're not really your competitors. My experience over all these years is most of the people I've sat with could have been the same size, could have been a different size, but no one's really competing with you. You're all doing different things. So put down the wall. Don't be so paranoid. The other thing is we used to do some things that I thought were proprietary, and some people would say to me, why are you letting people in the shop? And I'd say, because they could see what we're doing. They're still not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And let them try if they want, and let them waste their money. It's okay with me. Like I just didn't have that paranoia fear. And I'm not telling anyone don't protect what you do, but don't get overprotective where it holds you back.
No,
right?
It's funny. One of your previous guests, Bill Farquharson, so he was running the sale track at D-Scoop this year, and when I was on stage, he asked a question at the end, and it was around what's your take on people being worried about sharing who the customers are and putting testimonials out and things, and my answer was, if you're good at what you do, then it shouldn't matter.
Anybody calling someone from a website where the customer's name is there and they gave a testimonial and they're calling to steal work is crazy. Because unless there was a screw up that week, the person who wrote the testimonial, to anyone listening, you're only putting testimonials of your best relationships who have your back covered.
Yeah.
Right?
But you know what? If you're good at what you do, even if it's not through a testimonial, like, focus on being the best at what you do.
Don't absolutely.
Be aware of the competition, of course, but just focus on doing what you do and do it best.
And very few competitors do exactly the same thing as anybody else, right? There's always a mix in there that doesn't work. Or, if you're a big company, you're not as nimble as a smaller company. So they might have the big accounts, but go in there because there's small work that they can't do quick enough for that account. 100 different things.
This could be a whole other episode alone.
Oh, absolutely. Anyways, okay, so we've crossed over an hour, and I know that you have a cutoff, so I don't want to take you away from that. First of all, thank you so much for your time and joining the conversation. I didn't even get touched on what I wanted to touch on, which gives you an automatic invite to come back and be a guest again another time.
Look forward to it.
And that'd be my pleasure. Everybody, again, listening, I hope you walked away with a few nuggets. All it takes is one nugget to make listening for the hour worth it. If you got one nugget, go tell a friend, go tell someone in the company that they should be listening to my podcast and any other print podcast to give you ideas. I think what Colin and I are here for is not only to promote ourselves, but really to promote the industry, promote other people, because there's not enough of us to go around to all of you who hopefully are lining up to call us that want us. How's that for a little self-plug? Another thing I'll just mention quickly is I am putting together a trip in January to Kilimanjaro. I'm looking for 10 people that are looking for life-changing, game-changing experiences to do something that you haven't done. There'll be a 4-day safari after once we're in Tanzania. I'll put out some information soon, but if you've listened to this, if you have an interest, if you know someone who you think should have a life-changing experience, reach out to me. It is guaranteed to be off the charts. I did Nepal, Amit Dablam Base Camp a couple of years ago, and I'm still reeling from it. So I think this will be great. Okay, enough with the plugs. Again, thank you to you. Thank you to everyone who's listened and listening and continuing to listen, because our numbers are going up every month. So thank you. I'm most grateful. Look to the next podcast. And if you know anyone who wants to be on, let me know and we'll do our best. So thank you. Thank everyone. Any final words you want to say?
Do you know what? Just keep doing what you're doing, Warren. You've got so much experience to share, and people need to listen. So keep doing what you're doing. I hope this isn't the last conversation we have like this. I'm sure there'll be many more, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in Orlando in a couple of months' time as well. But no, listen, just thanks for having me. I appreciate you giving me the time to do this. And
my pleasure. But what I really meant was, is there anything you want to say to the people listening? But I'm happy for everything you said to me.
Yeah, but do you know what? I think just to round off what you said as well, like you don't need to do this alone. I made a lot of the mistakes because support like this was not available when I started out. If it's whether it's me, Warren, anyone else, get yourself a mentor, a coach, someone that you can be accountable to. I've got a coach. I need someone who I need to be held accountable to as well. But yeah, just I used to come home all the time, and as I said, my wife was a vet. So when I come home with moans and groans, she always said the complete opposite from what I wanted her to say. So I think when you've got people with experience in the industry that get it, that have worn the T-shirt, kind of, they understand what you're going through. There's a lot of power in that. So whether it's either of us, someone else in the industry, just make sure you're getting that help and support from someone.
Awesome. On that note, we're done until the next one. Ciao.
Thanks, Warren.